You know when I said during the Christmas party that the Suzuha fans weren't getting their their fan service? We might be about to have it. Then again, she said she was covered in scars and crap, so don't know if you'll want that. Hey, some people are into it. I'm not here to judge. Anyway, hey there guys, my name is Nix and welcome back to Steins Gate 0. Last time, Mayuri bought that damn green Oopa, and then it was left on the stairs. Well, not that one specifically, a different green one that she gave, the one that Kagari had, was left on the stairs to the lab. She knows where we live. It ain't fun. Anyway, Suzuha sighed as she took her shower. Since it was summer, she set the water temperature to low. It was barely any hotter than tap water. Okay, I understand, but at the same time, like, there's such a thing as being too cold. As long as the water was pouring down on her, she could feel like all the bad memories were being washed away. She slapped her cheeks with both hands and turned off the water. The small tiled room suddenly became quiet. In the silence, she vigorously toweled off her hair. The building was never intended for anyone to live in. Not only was there very little room, there wasn't even a place to change. It was small and there were no windows, and the steam from the shower room built up, making it an unpleasant sauna in summer. Supposedly, Itaru and Okabe would sit next to each other and the fans to get away from the heat and moisture. Of course, though, that was only when the girls, as well as Luca Ushibara, weren't around. Why? Luca's a guy. What? Why? Never mind. But Suzuha couldn't do that. There were those huge scars on her chest. If she was careless and Yuki saw them, she'd have a big problem. So she was always forced to change herself within this small space. Wow, this is sinister as fuck, isn't it? The second she left the shower room, she realized something was wrong. The lights were off in the part behind the curtain where the lab room was. She was sure she'd left all the lab lights on when she'd gone to take a shower. She didn't remember turning them off. Still completely naked, she flung open the curtain. This is good. I feel like the fact that she specified she's naked is just going to make this lead to some wacky antics. And maybe that's just me being hopeful, though. She dropped to the floor, ready to move. She could tell by the light from the shower room that there was no one else there. She didn't hear any breathing, and she didn't feel any other presence. Did Dad come back? And then when he'd left, he turned off the lights? No, that couldn't be right. She looked around the room and saw that things had been moved in a way that an amateur wouldn't be able to notice. Itaru's computer desk, the sofa area, the bookshelves, even the mini kitchen. Someone had gone through them all. From the look of it, the same was probably true of the development room. Suzuha glanced over all the areas where she kept her guns. The closest was the sofa that she used as a bed. She'd wanted to have one easily available if she was attacked while she slept, so she cut out one of the back of one of the sofa cushions and hid a suppressed semi-automatic pistol in it. It was just a .32 caliber for self-defense, so it wouldn't do much damage unless you had good aim. But it was small and relatively quiet, which made it the best choice for places like this. Suzuha tensed all her muscles, coiling like a spring, and slowly moved towards the sofa without making a sound. As she did, she tried to notice any changes in the surrounding area. There was a small sound in the development room. There was a tiny, tiny creaking of the floor, which you usually pay no mind. But that was more than enough for Suzuha. In an instant, she moved from quiet to action. She cleared the distance to the sofa in an instant and quickly drew her gun. She held it ready and slipped into the shadow of the refrigerator. From this position, she could barely see into the development room. The room became silent again. But this time the intruder in the other room didn't try to hide their presence.
Try anything else, shoot! Hands on your head and come out slowly.
Suzuha threatened the intruder in a low voice, but the intruder seemed completely unconcerned as they exposed themselves to Suzuha's gaze.
You must be pretty hot wearing that in this weather. Why not at least take off your helmets?
The intruder was wearing a motorcycle suit, just like before. Even the helmet was the same. The leather suit clung to the tight skin. The leather suit clung tight to their skin, revealing a voluptuous and perfectly proportioned body. It was clearly a woman.
What you're looking for isn't here. It's in my pocket.
Suzuha pointed toward the entrance of the shower room. The shirt she'd just taken off was lying on the floor. The girl on the motorcycle turned her head, but because the face mask was down, Suzuha couldn't read her expression.
You should know better than to drop that. It's something Mommy gave you. Right, Kagari?
Second she spoke, Kagari Shina was the first to move. She drew a deglossed military knife that she must have been hiding behind her back and closed the gap between herself and Suzuha in an instant. Suzuha pointed the gun at her legs and pulled the trigger, carefully aiming away from her vitals. She heard the small pop of a suppressed .32 and saw Kagari lose her balance and fall. Also, she thought she did, but it was a feint. She only pretended to lose her balance. In fact, she changed directions and was heading for the shower room. It seemed her first goal was to get what she'd come for.
Huh?
After only firing one shot, Suzuha realized. Even a .32 should have more recoil than this. She fired again, but Kagari didn't flinch, even for a moment.
Blank? How?
Oh, Kagari had been through and changed it. Ah, Kagari's on top of this, isn't she? At some point, all the bullets in Suzuha's gun had been swapped with blanks. That instant's panic was all it took. Kagari reached for the shirt on the floor in front of the shower room.
No way!
Suzuha gave up on firing and flung the gun at Kagari. There was a dull thud as the hard barrel slammed into her neck. Caught off balance, she staggered before she could grab the shirt. She could hear Kagari's voice for the first time from within the helmet. Suzuha jumped. She kicked the off-balance Kagari as hard as she could with her toned, muscled legs. This was no time to hold back. Kagari went flying all the way to the edge of the room. That had to have broken a few ribs. Suzuha jumped toward her to continue her attack. But with terrifying speed, Kagari leapt off the ground and charged at Suzuha. There wasn't enough time to come to a full stop. A sharp blade swept by, mere centimeters from her exposed abdomen. If she pulled back even a few tenths of a second later, the knife would have fatally sliced open her gut.
You bitch!
The blood rushed to Suzuha's head. Kagari was serious. She was planning to kill her. There was no hesitation in her movements. Suzuha leapt back and searched for something she could use as a weapon. But the other guns were probably no different. There was a good chance they'd all had their ammo swapped with the blanks too. Was it even possible that all her self-defense knives had been taken too? Which left? There are several knives carefully stored in the kitchen. Yuki had brought them over to use in teaching the other girls how to cook. But Kagari had evidently noticed them as well. She was moving to keep Suzuha from reaching them.
Huh. Looks like you've had a lot of practice. It's hard to believe you're the same girl who spent all her time sobbing inside the time machine. I'm surprised.
Suzuha kept her distance from Kagari as she slowly moved along the wall. Her competitive drive burned even brighter as she tried to come up with a way to overcome her disadvantage.
Hey, Kagari. This is what you're after, right?
She picked up her shirt from in front of the shower room and took out the green keychain out of its pockets.
What's wrong? Come get it.
Her fingers moved as if to crush it. She could see Kagari twitch. For the first time, she could detect a hint of emotion beyond the helmet. And in an instant, she threw it at Kagari's stomach. The keychain flew in a slow arc, like she was tossing it to a friend. If something they loved was thrown like that, even the fiercest warrior would instinctively reach out both hands to grab it. Kagari was no exception. She carefully held her mother's memento in both her empty left hand, and in the right hand that still clutched the knife. Using the slow arc of the keychain as camouflage, Suzuha ran at her in a straight line. Her right fist connected hard with Kagari's stomach. Then her left arm smashed Kagari's head to the side. Through the helmet? That's impressive. Kagari's body fell to the ground, her right shoulder taking the brunt of the fall. Suzuha could hear the sound of her joint dislocating. Oof. The knife slipped from her grasp. Suzuha got behind her and mounted her, twisting her right arm mercilessly. At the same time, she slipped her own left arm around Kagari's neck and squeezed hard. She could hear something like a moan from Kagari's throat. She could both hear and feel the bones in her arm and neck creaking.
Stay put! I'm not going to kill you!
But Kagari picked up the knife on the floor with her left hand and once again tried to use it on Suzuha. Suzuha was forced to squeeze her arm and neck even harder.
Stop it, Kagari! I understand how you feel, but it's wrong! It's wrong!
But Kagari didn't stop. If anything, she tried even harder to pull Suzuha away.
What kind of training did she get?
Even in all the battles she'd been in, this much pressure on two different spots was enough to get even the toughest soldier to submit or fall unconscious. Terrified, Suzuha squeezed even harder. At this rate, she wouldn't simply knock her out. She really would kill Kagari. But if she stopped, Kagari would kill her. What should she do?
Fix this, Suzuha! It hurts! It hurts!
And then she heard a sad, weak voice from inside the helmet. It startled her. And she relaxed both her arms. Nope! Big mistake! Shouldn't have done that. But that's what just Kagari had hoped for. The knife came very close to cutting Suzuha's left arm. When she let go to dodge it, Kagari shook her off and kicked her their hips with both legs. Suzuha was slammed back hard into the computer desk, and for a moment she couldn't breathe. She fell to the floor, and the printer and monitor crashed mercilessly into her naked body. She forced herself to stand up, gasping hard as she did so. Kaguri's breathing was heavy too. Her right arm was pointed in at an impossible direction and hanging limp. She wouldn't be able to use it for a while, probably. But her left arm was still holding the knife.
You've learned some dirty tricks, haven't you?
Suzuha glared at Kaguri's face, not that she could see what it looked like from behind the helmet. The two of them fell silent as they tried to catch their breath. The tension in the air was so thick that it was difficult to move a muscle. Sweat rolled down her forehead and into her eyes, but she didn't blink as she waited for Kaguri to make the next move. I already feel bad that Dara's gonna walk in on this and suffer greatly because of it. It was the sound of the front door opening that broke their stalemate. Hey, Suzuha? Did I just hear a loud noise? I really gotta stop calling these things before they happen. Suzuha felt a chill run down her spine when she heard Itaru's voice. Huh? Why is it so dark?
No, Dad! Stay back!
She yelled at the exact moment that he turned the lights on. The sudden brightness was enough to make Suzuha flinch for an instant. Kaguri was wearing a full-face helmet. That made all the difference. She leapt towards Itaru just a moment before Suzuha. That's an accurate noise to be making. Kaguri's black knife went up to his throat.
Dad!
Kaguri spun around behind him, using Itaru's huge body as a shield. Suzuha staggered towards him, gritting her teeth.
Let go, Kaguri. One finger on your dad. Lay one finger on Dad. And I don't care who you are, Kaguri. I'll kill you.
But Kaguri remained silent as she headed outside the door with her hostage. And then in the next moment she shoved him forward. Itaru lost his balance and fell towards Suzuha. Oh god, that's not going to be good for Suzuha, is it? Suzuha fell to the ground underneath his weight. Itaru just barely managed to support himself with his arms and legs to keep from crushing her.
Move!
Suzuha tried to shove him off, using a little more force than she may have intended. But Itaru was so huge it would take him a moment to get up.
This is why I told you to lose weight!
What? She was getting away. She somehow managed to crawl out from under him and quickly tried to follow after Kaguri. Suzuha, wear this! Itaru was still lying on the ground as he tossed the naked Suzuha her shirt. She grabbed it and quickly put it on, then ran outside. But when she looked around the street, the girl in the motorcycle leathers wasn't there. There's no way to even know where she'd gone.
She got away.
It would be dangerous to run around trying to find her now. There was a chance Itaru would be attacked while she wasn't at the lab. Was that Kaguri-tan? Itaru came outside as well.
Yeah. I'm almost certain.
I see.
So this is how it's going to be with the two of us in the end.
The bruises and wounds were bad enough, but the pain that ached in her heart was the worst of all.
You know, I really did like her.
Yeah.
She was small, but so brave. She always did her best to protect big sis Mayu. And I taught her a lot. I taught her as like a little sister.
Yeah.
But now, she's completely my enemy.
Itaru straightened up her shirt sleeves. You know, you're like a slutty girl in an H game right now, Suzuha.
Huh? What?
Suzuha was caught completely off guard. True, her t-shirt only came down to just below her hips, roughly the length of a miniskirt. Her breasts were almost completely bared. The shirt's hem was tucked up, and she felt exposed. Well, I don't mind H games with slutty girls. And I don't think the whole naked except for a t-shirt thing is all that bad.
You're being silly again. You could have gotten badly hurt.
But Itaru shook his head. I got freaked out by the knife, but I didn't think I really needed to be that scared. Unless I'm mistaken. Itaru rubbed the part of his neck where the knife blade was. When she had the knife to my throat, I could hear it, just a little.
Hear what?
She was probably crying.
Huh?
Crying? Under the helmet? After the whole battle with Suzuha? While holding a knife to Itaru's neck? But why? So don't you think it's too early to jump to conclusions?
Dad?
Hmm?
Did you buy me that vanilla ice cream?
Yeah, of course.
I'd love to eat it. I'm a little tired.
And then she almost fell forward. What? Itaru managed to catch her before she hit the ground. Hey! Hey, Suzuha!
I'm fine. Let me rest a little.
That was all she had the energy to say. She closed her eyes in her dad's arms, and her consciousness melted away. Meanwhile, Okabe is completely ignorant of everything that just happened. When July came, the sun shone down even harder on the eastern Japan. Summer was truly here. The news had been saying for days that the heat island effect might make this the hottest summer in years. And then, on the first Sunday in July, I met with Maho in Akihabara. I was waiting. I was about to say, like... So I think... Is this the first time I've seen her without a lab coat? I think it might be. Or like, well, she's got exposed arms. I know that's what I'm trying to say. I wanted to not make it sound weird. I was waiting at the open cafe at the UPX when Maho arrived. She was a little late.
Okabe!
It's too much like Suzuha. It's been a while. She ordered a nice coffee and took a deep breath. But, you know, we talk to each other all the time on video chat.
That's right. It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Her habit of paying no attention to her clothes or looks hadn't changed at all in the last 6 months. People were going to think she was an elementary school kid who decided to go play at a friend's house. But it would upset her if I said that, so I never would. I had no idea you were here. If I didn't happen to see Dr. Leskinen, I never would have found out.
I was going to contact you once things had calmed down. We needed to talk to each other about Kurisu at some point eventually.
You'll hear about the new encephalitis cases.
Dr. Leskinen is, at least. I'm his assistant, so I'm mostly in charge of Amadeus. Have there been any problems? I assume not, since I'm still getting my usual reports.
Yeah, nothing really. Lately it's been a struggle to deal with Kurisu, though.
Hey!
I heard a voice from my smartphone, which I placed on the table.
What do you mean by struggle?
I'd left the Amadeus app turned on. Of course, Kurisu could hear everything we said. She's gotten a little ruder since we first met.
You're just afraid of me for no reason at all.
Maybe. It was turning into our old relationship in the Alpha World line, where we'd fought all the time. I was starting to lose track of whether that was a good or bad thing for me. I thought I was trying to forget about Kurisu. You were pretty rude when we first met.
That was... She's rough on people when she meets them for the first time. You know why? Because they refuse to treat her like she's her real age.
The two of them spoke in unison.
So I always get upset. Once I get to know someone, they can stop talking about my appearance, right? So I can speak more normally around them is all.
I guess I was right not to comment on her outfit. That was a close call.
Anyway, back to Amadeus. It's an interesting sign that Kurisu's developing me a bit of a sharp tongue. It's a side of her she never shows me or the professor, right? That may be a sign of how much she's opened up to you. I have not.
Maho simply smiled and ignored her.
We can analyze those psychological changes as code. This is a change we never would have seen if she'd only been speaking to me and the professor. That alone means we were right to keep you on as a tester.
Is that how it works?
Dr. Leskinen was very impressed by this too. I think you're giving him too much credit. In fact, whenever he talks to me, he's always complaining. He's not very manly, you know.
Well, I knew my personality had gotten a bit negative. Especially given what I'd been through. But did she really need to say that to Maho right now? An eye for an eye it is then. By the way, there's something I haven't told you yet.
What's that?
It's something I don't think you or Dr. Leskinen are aware of.
Wait, what are you going to tell her? Something Maho and the professor don't know? About me?
Does the phrase Kurigohan and Kamehameha mean anything to you?
Hey!
A few weeks ago, I'd actually searched for Kurigohan and Kamehameha on a win. It was the handle Kurisu used on @channel when she was still alive. From what I'd seen, the comment started in summer 2008, then abruptly stopped in July 2010. Gee, I fucking wonder why. And then started up again in December of the same... Okay! That last one's a bit weird. Considering, you know, she died. Even now in July 2011, they were still appearing. If it wasn't Kurisu's ghost and it wasn't an imposter, then the only one who could be writing those posts was...
Okabe Rintaro. Why don't we have a private chat?
So it was you after all? Don't you think it's a bad idea not to tell them?
It's an even worse idea to tell Maho.
Why?
Because I haven't breathed a word to her about me going on that channel.
Why hide it? It's not a crime to read or comment on that channel. Isn't that right, at Chandler Kurisu?
Listen, tell me that one more time and I'll stop making up gossip about you on that channel.
That's practically a crime, though. I couldn't help but laugh. Conversations like this brought back so many memories. I used to be so full of myself that I'd tick off Kurisu all the time.
Hey, what are you talking about? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Delete all your memories from today from your hippocampus, please.
You can hide it, but she's going to find out eventually.
You just shut up. You two have gotten a lot closer over the last 6 months. Maho, I'm sorry. Huh? Why are you apologizing? No, it's just been so long since you and Okabe have seen each other and I'm doing all the talking. So, why don't you take some time and chat? That's not what I meant. It's all Okabe's fault for saying something weird, isn't it?
Is that true, Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha? Oh god, it's times like this, I understand why people go and look up like just compilations of anime girl noises. Cause they're all majestic!
Please don't say that.
Just like the real Kurisu, she was strangely obsessed with hiding the fact that she was an at-chandler.
I need to go cool off a little, so I'm going to hang up. Bye.
Kurisu disappeared from the screen. Kurisu had been kind of rude lately, so it felt good to have a chance to get back at her. If I overdid it, she was probably going to hold a grudge, so this was likely a good place to stop.
What's Kuri Gohan?
If you really want to know, ask Kurisu. If I explained, she'd probably get mad and refuse to talk to me again. Wait, again? What did you do the first time? So, how long are you going to be staying here?
It might be longer than last time. You barely know anything about the new encephalitis Dr. Leskinen's researching. It's possible that I'll be sent back on my own, too.
If you got time, visit the lab. I'm sure Daru and Mayuri would love to see you.
Mayuri, sure, but I don't know about Hashida.
Maho was finally starting to understand Daru's true nature. Speaking of Daru, he should be on a date with Yuki Yamane right now.
By the way, what happened to Kurisu's laptop?
I destroyed it. It was the best thing to do. I explained that to you before, didn't I?
Yeah, you're right.
She looked down as a sad expression. She looked down, a sad expression on her face. I told her I was going to do it ahead of time, but this still must have upset her to see one of the last things she had to remember Kurisu beat by destroyed. Oh, okay. I did not expect that to end there. About half the seats at Go-Go Curry were full. It was Sunday, but it was also after 2 p.m., so the lunchtime rush was over. Suzuha was sitting at the restaurant's far edge, a baseball cap pulled down over her face. She was hiding her face with the cap and carefully watching a couple sitting nearby. Oh god, is she spying on Daru and Yuki? Here you are, your Major Curry. A cheerful employee put down 2 giant silver plates, or trays more accurately, in front of them. Suzuha could see the other customers look at them and whispering. The couple really stood out after all. The man was a giant who looked like he ate Major Curry all the time, but the woman was slim, pretty, and looked very kind. Yep, she's watching her parents. The combination of huge man and slim woman was as unbalanced as the combination of pretty girl and Major Curry. Major Curry was big, was huge. Suzuha knew from experience. The massive silver trays were loaded with rice and curry, and topped off with 2 fried cutlets, fried shrimp, sausage, and a boiled egg, and a mountain of cabbage. You had me until you mentioned cabbage, at which point I clocked out. There was 2 or 3 times as much curry as you'd find in a normal dish, and the toppings were just as big. Even a growing young boy would find it hard to eat them all. Suzuha was irritated.
Why are you ordering Major Curry on your first date with her dad?
The Beauty and the Beast couple that Suzuha was watching, of course, was Itaru and Yuki. In the morning, they'd gone to see a movie in Yurakucho? Yay, for once I didn't struggle with that one. Then they'd come to Akihabara and gone straight to Go-Go Curry. Suzuha had followed them the whole time, really. You don't need to do this, Suzuha. That's why she couldn't believe Itaru's choice of date spots.
I don't mind Go-Go Curry at all. In fact, I like it, but... This is your first date! There are other places you could have gone.
She clutched her spoon tight and gritted her teeth. Suzuha knew next to nothing about Japanese youth culture in 2011, and even she knew it was a bad idea. Who knew what was going through Yuki's mind? Or so Suzuha thought. But...
Wow! It's even more amazing than the pictures.
Surprisingly, Yuki was ignoring the people around her and innocently enjoying the huge curry. Monishi, if you can't eat it all, I'll just finish it for you, okay?
Okay, but thank you. I'm actually pretty good at this.
Yeah? That's a surprise.
I actually would always just come and look at the menu outside. I've always wanted to try this. I'm glad you brought me here.
I'm glad to hear that.
Huh?
Suzuha had evidently worried over nothing, but she still realized that Itaru was acting strangely. Ever since he'd come out of the movie theater, he was walking and talking strangely. Instead of his usual hunched posture, he was forcing himself to stand up straight. His every movement seemed oddly forced, as if he were a broken robot. And he downed glass after glass of water. Hey, don't judge me. Don't judge. I down glass after glass trying to do your fucking voice, Suzuha. Don't judge.
Oh, I'm sorry. May I have more water too?
Huh? Oh, sure.
Thanks.
Itaru poured water into Yuki's cup. Suzuha had a bad feeling. And she was right. Itaru was moving so awkwardly that he almost spilled water on her hand. You okay?
My hand just got a little wet. Anyway, let's eat before it gets cold, okay?
Yuki quickly wiped the table with her handkerchief and grabbed her fork and spoon. There were stars in her eyes.
Okay, let's eat!
Let's eat. Yuki seemed to be really enjoying her meal, but Itaru was very formal and quiet. He was taking little nibbles out of a piece of fried cutlet, like a squirrel eating a nut. Is cutlet some kind of meat that I'm not sure about? Probably is, and I'm just getting confused. Actually, yeah, now I think about it, I think pork cutlets are a thing. The whole time, they weren't saying a word.
What are you doing, Dad? Mom's not gonna want you around if you're like that.
I mean, like, to be fair, like, once food is there, it's probably best to eat it, but I'm not sure. She decided to send him a message on Rhine telling him to get his act together, and she'd just taken her phone out when... Here's your major curry with extra roux! A huge plate was laid on the table in front of her. The other customers started murmuring again. Come to think of it, when she followed him into the store, she just ordered her usual. Major curry with extra roux and forgotten about it. Now everyone was going to focus on her. In a small shop like this, it was suicide. Huh? Just as she expected, her eyes met Yuki's.
Oh, Suzuha! I didn't realize you were here. Yeah. What a coincidence seeing you here, Yuki. Brother? You should have said something. No, I didn't even notice you. Really.
She realized that she should probably leave, but she couldn't go without at least taking a bite out of the major curry in front of her. Her experiences in the war had left her completely unable to waste food. She felt Yuki and Itaru staring at her reluctantly as she picked up her spoon.
Anyway, yeah, you two enjoy yourselves.
Her only choice was to finish her extra large curry as soon as possible. She couldn't let herself be in the way. And instead, Yuki came over and picked up Suzuha's plate. Huh?
Excuse me, can my friend sit with us?
Sure, go ahead.
He said it's okay. Let's all eat together. Wait! Why? Why? Because you ordered major curry too. I think we need to have a race.
Yuki, you goddamn crazy.
Huh? Hashida can be the judge.
And before Suzuha could respond, Yuki had moved her plate over to the table.
No, wait!
She had no choice but to follow, but before she sat down, she whispered in Yuki's ear.
You're on a date, right? Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm on a date. It makes me blush when I say it aloud.
Oh god, this is just great anime noises the episode. Itaru didn't react at all, even though she was sure he'd overheard that.
I've never been on a date, so I don't know how they work, but... Is it normal to have a curry speed eating contest with another girl in the middle of a date? I don't really know. But you see a lot in anime and manga, don't you?
You do? What anime and manga can I go and watch after this?
A little sister who doesn't want to lose, her big brother runs up to the girlfriend and says, "Let's have a competition."
I mean, I guess it makes sense. For some reason, Yuki seemed incredibly enthused. Suzuha was overwhelmed by her energy.
I don't know anything about that. Is that how it works, brother?
But even when she turned to Itaru for help, he just awkwardly sat there eating his curry like a robot.
Brother?
He awkwardly turned his face to her. The rest of him stayed completely still. Did you say something?
What's wrong? You're acting weird.
I'm not acting weird. I'm not acting weird at all. Confused Suzuha noises. Suzuha glanced back to Yuki. And for the first time, Yuki looked concerned. In the end, Yuki and Suzuha did have their curry eating contest, and surprisingly, both of them completely finished their meals. Suzuha won by a very small margin, but the battle was exciting enough that not only the other customers, but the staff as well were applauding at the end. But the whole time, Itaru kept eating by himself. Since this wasn't even a conversation, let alone a date, she sent Itaru home. Part of her wanted to demand Itaru explain himself right now, but she decided to talk to Yuki instead. She tried her best to avoid Yuki so far in order to keep her identity a secret, but it was July now. She would be gone from this area very soon. This might be her last chance to talk to Yuki at all.
I'm so glad you were there.
Yuki sighed a little after Itaru left.
Maybe I did something to offend him. Hashida doesn't seem to enjoy being around me. You don't think he was just nervous? But he was having fun talking with me before the movie, you know. But after the movie, he started acting real strange. Did I do something wrong? I asked him to take me to the curry place, but since he was acting like that the whole time, I wasn't really sure what to do. And since you happened to be there, I turned to you for help, and...
What had happened inside the theater? Zua hadn't followed them inside. She spent about 2 hours killing time outside.
Hey. Why do you like my brother? Huh? Huh? I mean, maybe I shouldn't say it like this, but he's not exactly a lady killer. What do you think about your brother? Me? You like him? Hate him? You like him, right? I can tell by watching you. Well, sure.
There were parts of him that she didn't like, but of course she loved her dad.
Wait, why are we talking about me? So, what about you? I still don't know whether I like him or not. I see.
Not only had Itaru not told Yuki he liked her, this was still their first date, and they hadn't spoken that much before either. She hadn't even reached the point where she saw him as a member of the opposite sex. For almost a year, Suzuha had stayed with him, and she, Mayuri, and Faris had done everything they could to get the two of them together, but there hadn't been any real progress. Suzuha felt uneasy when she thought about the future. Maybe her dad wouldn't be her dad anymore. Maybe her mom wouldn't be her mom anymore. Dad and mom wouldn't be together. She imagined the future.
I don't want that.
She looked straight into Yuki's eyes.
I'm going to be leaving soon. What?
ちょっと遠いところに引っ越す
I'm
んだよ
moving
ね
someplace far away.
そうなんですか
Really?
多分戻ってこ
I
ない
don't
と
think I'll be back.
心配なんだ父
And
さ
I'm
ん
worried about Dad. I mean, my brother.
兄さんのことだからさ
So,
ユキさん
Yuki?
こんなこと
I know this
私
is
が
weird
頼
for
む
me
の
to
もおかしな
ask.
話なんだけど
And then she bowed deeply.
橋田至をよろしくお願いし
Please
ます
take care of Itaru Hashida.
お
There was no answer from Yuki. Suzuha looked up, afraid, and tried to gauge the expression on her face. She looked kind of lonely and kind of sad.
私はどうしたいんでしょうね
I don't know what I want to do.
Yuki whispered, and then Suzuha.
ああもうどうするんだよ
Oh, jeez. What are we going to do? Everything's almost finished.
ないけど
Even though it's never even started.
As soon as she got back to the lab, she yelled at her useless father. Suzuha! I'm sorry. The Hashida family's doomed.
しょぼくれてるんじゃない
Stop sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. This isn't funny!
とりあえず今日は
Stop explaining why you're acting that way today.
説明して今朝出かけるときは
You looked so excited when you left this morning, and Mom said you were normal until halfway through the movie.
は普通だったって言ってたし
Yeah.
一体何があったの
So what the hell happened?
Well, see, listen to this. You know how the movie theater seats are cramped, right? So I tried to sit to the far edge so I wouldn't get in Amaneshi's way. Then I heard this crack and the seat almost broke.
え
What?
And then I tried to support myself, so I grabbed the armrest. But it wasn't the armrest, it was Amaneshi's hand. You accidentally held hands with her and now you feel like you've gone too quickly.
うん
Yeah?
そんなこと
Mom didn't say
一
anything
言も
about
言ってなか
that.
ったけど
I'm telling the truth! It was so soft, it could have been an armrest. It was a girl's hand! It had to have been! Wait a minute, you didn't grab her by the boob, did you? When you say it was so soft.
そう
I see.
But you see, I've held a lot of 2D girls' hands, but never a real girl's.
それでどうした
And
の
what happened then?
Amaneshi's so nice. I guess she didn't try to shake it off because she didn't want to hurt me. But you know how fat I am, right? I sweat a lot. She must have gotten soaked. But I didn't say a word. And so I started to think. So I really started to think about that.
ああなるほどね
Oh, I
それ
see.
であんなにポンコツになってたのか
That's why you were acting so weird.
I'm sure in her mind, Amaneshi was going, "Get off me, you creepy loser perv."
母さんはそんな人間じゃないよ
Mom's not like that.
In fact, from the way she was acting, she probably thought she'd upset him somehow. The problem was what she'd said.
私はどうしたいんでしょうね
I don't know what I want to do.
What does she mean by that?
母さんがわからない
I don't know what Mom's thinking.
Now I just looked at her just now and I thought, you know what? If she wore biker leathers, I could see her being Kagari. And that's a horrific thought that I don't want. Suzuha, let's give up on mom and you can live with me.
You're not making any sense. How am I even supposed to be born?
But it's impossible.
How come you're not even trying? Even if things look bad, you have to keep going.
She grabbed her father by the collar and shook him.
If you don't...
She remembered how sad Yuki looked when they said goodbye.
Otherwise, something awful will happen.
Yeah. Suzuha was starting to wonder about leaving, especially now she had even more to worry about. Maybe I shouldn't have talked to Yuki after all. She realized again how powerless she was, being from the future. Oh god, here we go with this again. The Global Brain Science Comprehension Research Organization Japan office prep room in Wako City hadn't changed a bit in 6 months. Can we abbreviate that one? Because that's a fucking mouthful and I'm amazed I nailed it on my first attempt, if I'm honest. It was still far from being what it needed to be, and still almost completely empty. There were rows and rows of empty desks. The amount of dust on the tables had perhaps increased. After Dr. Leskinen had left, it probably remained unused. Sorry to call you out here like this, Lin Talho.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Dr. Leskinen told me he wanted to update the Amadeus app to the latest version, so I come to his office after class. Maho connected my phone to her PC to begin the process. He said it would only take 10 minutes, so I was sitting around, waiting. By the way, Lintalo, I know we discussed this before, but were you seriously considering being an exchange student? Huh? If it doesn't bother you, I'd be willing to write a recommendation letter. Of course, you need to pass the test and the interviews. I frantically straightened my posture. That's a very tempting offer, but I don't think I've got the academic talent for it yet. My goal is to go to Victor Crondria, and so I really don't want to screw this up. And I was planning on really buckling down and studying for at least another year. Dr. Leskinen pursed his lips as I tried to stammer out an explanation. But soon. Okay. He patted me on the shoulder and smiled. I knew you were a very thoughtful young man. Really? No one's ever told me that before. Saying it was one thing. But maybe I was just a coward. There were times when you needed the courage to move forward without being afraid of failure. Was now one of those times? So you'll try for it next year then? Yeah, maybe. Had I missed my chance? Would Dr. Leskinen wait until next year? I started to get nervous. It's not good to obsess over things too much. I think even coming to visit would help with your motivation. Visit? If the timing works out for you, we'd be willing to pay you a visit. We'd be willing to pay to have you visit even. That's even better for you. How about it? I can't believe you do that for me. Thank you! Of course, I don't know when we'll be heading back to America next, so I can't exactly say when it'll be. Right. I bowed my head in gratitude. Meeting Dr. Leskinen was a really lucky break for me. Yeah, Maho knows. By chance, my eyes met Maho's. For some reason, her smile was a little sad. She quickly looked away and went back to her work. Maho was staying in a business hotel a few stops down from Wako City. Wait, is this where she... No, wait, looking at it, this has got to be where she lives. Look at that trash piled high. I don't know the button to hide the, the backdrop because I'm still on keyboard, but look at that trash in the corner. She hasn't taken that out in weeks. She said she deliberately avoided staying in the same hotel as last time.
少し不便になったけれどね。
It's not quite as convenient, though.
というか、少
You
し
know,
は片付けたら
why not clean up a little? She hadn't spent that much time in Japan and it was already messy.
片付ける？
Clean up.
私は自分が一番
I've got everything laid out in the most efficient manner for my use.
Which meant she was refusing the hotel's cleaning service.
You know, that's why you're never getting a boyfriend, right?
I could hear Kurisu from my phone. She was annoyed. After the app update, I'd left Amadeus running.
Nobody asked you! Any normal person would be embarrassed to invite someone over to a room like this.
Well, cleaning wasn't a specialty of mine either. It wouldn't be right to give her too much of a hard time.
それで俺に
So,
話して
what did you want to talk about? I come to Maho's hotel because she said she wanted to talk to me about something. I wouldn't have minded talking about it in the office, but she insisted on speaking alone in her hotel room. I knew she didn't mean anything by it. After knowing her for half a year, I knew she wasn't the type. Maho looked like she was having trouble trying to find the words she wanted to say.
あなたにまだ聞けて
You
い
still
ない
haven't
から。
told me
クリスの事件の
the truth
真相を。
about what happened to Kurisu.
I quickly shut down the Amadeus app.
それにタイムマシンのことについても聞きたいの。
I want to ask you about the time machine, too.
タイムマシン
The time machine?
クリスは中鉢論文に関わ
You're
って
the one who
いて
said Kurisu was involved
そ
in
う言った
Dr.
のは
Nakabachi's
あなた
paper.
よ。ねえ、あの子は
Was she
本当にタイムマシン
really working on a time machine?
How should I answer that? Last time, she'd been trying to decrypt Kurisu's laptop. I was willing to tell her what I'd experienced in order to get her to stop. In the end, I'd lost the chance, though. But things were different now. Kurisu's laptop was gone. There was no reason to bring it up anymore. But then Maho said something I didn't expect.
実は私この半年
Actually, I've been researching my own time machine for the last 6
タイ
months,
ムマシンの研究
along
を
with
して
my
いた
normal
の。
research.
なんだって
What?
クリスにできたのなら
I
私も
thought that if Kurisu could do it, so could I.
歪んだ対抗意識ね。
It's just silly
意
rivalry.
地になっているのかも。
Maybe I'm just being stubborn.
でもね、
But, you know,
もしタイムマシンを作ることが
if
で
I
き
could
た
make a
ら
time machine, I told myself, maybe I could save Kurisu.
やめろ
Don't! This was awful. Why bring it up now? Maho was still haunted by Kurisu's death just as much as I was.
バカなことは
Don't get any stupid ideas.
岡部さん
Okabe.
マキセクリスを救おうなんて
Don't try to save Makase
考えるんじゃ
Kurisu.
ないそんな可能性は
It's
ゼロだ
impossible.
神の設営が
The laws of God wouldn't allow it.
やっぱり
Then I was right.
あなた
I was right.
やっぱり何か知ってい
You
るの
know
ね。
something, don't you?
Maho got closer to me.
もしかして
Did she really do it?
クリス
Did
は
Kurisu really make a time
完
machine?
成させているあなたはそれに乗って
You used it to become humanity's first time traveler, didn't you? I know you did!
根拠があって
Do you have any proof of that? I pretended to remain calm. Maho seemed shocked at her own words.
ごめんなさい
I'm sorry.
私
I'm being weird.
どうかしているわ
I can't believe I said something so delusional.
口にするなんて
Hyajoさん
Hyajo? Maho started to cry. I didn't know what to do when she started crying right in front of me.
どうしたのかしら私こんな
What's gotten into me? I didn't mean.
全然泣くつもりなんて
I didn't mean to cry.
She used her fingers to wipe away the tears. She seemed pretty unstable. I could sense a lot more fragility than I'd ever seen before. She looked like she'd been psychologically pushed to the limit. All the things she'd experienced must have taken a toll on her. When we were talking on video chat, I didn't have any signs of that at all. Should I tell her? If she was researching a time machine, that was a bad sign. She might start looking into things and open doors that should remain closed. If that was the case, I should tell her what I experienced, and then have her give up, just like I did.
分かった俺が経験したことを
I'll tell you what I experienced.
絶対に
Promise me you won't tell
他言
anyone.
無用だそれともう一度
And I'll say
これ
this
だけは
one
言って
more
おく
time.
マキセクリスを
Don't get any ideas about saving
Screw
Makase
off.
Kurisu.
いいな
Got it? She nodded as she wiped away the tears. I told her about the events in the Alpha World line, about the time machine, about reading Steiner, about the method of sending memories back through time that I called the time leap, and how Kurisu had developed a time leap machine that made this possible. About Amane Suzuha, the time traveler from the year 2036. About the future Suzuha had told us about, the Third World War, and about how the race to develop a time machine would set off that war. I told her all these things, as matter-of-factly as I could. As for how Kurisu died, I couldn't tell her that. When I told her everything, she fell silent for a bit. She took a deep breath, frowned, and rubbed her temples.
頭が痛いわ
My head hurts.
全て信じる必要はない
You don't need to believe it all.
俺の頭がおかしいと思って
You can think I'm crazy if you want. It doesn't bother me.
だが
But if you insist on continuing to research the time machine and save Makase Kurisu,
マキセクリスを
I'll do whatever I have in order to stop you.
俺はどんな手段を使ってもだから
So give up on any
変な
ideas
考え
you've
は捨
got.
てるんだ自分を追い詰めるのは
Stop pushing yourself so hard. I was about to say more, but Maho put her hand up to stop me.
もう少し整理させて
Let me get all this straight in my head a little more.
あなたの言うリーディングシュタイナーって
Reading Steiner you told me about. It's not the new encephalitis?
レスキネン教授が話していた症状
The
と
symptoms
同
match
じだ
what
わ
Dr. Leskinen told me about.
そうだな
That's
そう
true.
かもしれない
It might be.
レスキネン教授には
I still don't know whether I should tell him or not.
まだ無用な混乱を招く
It may just confuse him for no good reason.
君はどう思う
What do you think?
私に聞かないで
Don't ask me, please.
Maho was still massaging her temples with her fingers.
そうだな
That's true. I'm sorry.
あなたはクリス
Did
の
you
ノー
really
ト
destroy
PC を
Kurisu's laptop?
あ
Yeah,
あ壊した
I did.
中身は見た
Did you see what was on it?
ロックの解除方法がわからなか
I
った
didn't know how to crack the password.
見ようがない
There was no way I could. Even Daru said he couldn't do it. There was no way I could do it on my own.
あなたはクリスが書いたタイ
Did
ム
you
マ
read
シ
the
ンに
original
関する
paper on the
オリ
time
ジ
machine
ナ
that
ルの
Kurisu
論文を
wrote?
読んだの
いや
No. Maho kept asking me questions. She seemed to be in some kind of strange hurry.
あなたはクリスがどうやってタイム
Do you know how
マシンを
Kurisu
完
made
成
her
させた
time
か
machine?
知っているの
おおよそはな
The basic ideas.
再現できる
Could you recreate it?
どうだろうか
I don't know.
ダルの
Maybe
助
with
けがあれば
Daru's help.
あるいは
できるのね
So you could, right?
俺一人じゃ難しい
It would be difficult to do on my own.
私なら
What about me?
そんなことは考える
Don't even think about it. Maho suddenly grimaced as if she was in pain. I realized how pale she was.
ヒヤジョさん大丈夫か
Yujo? Are you okay? Do you really have a headache or something?
少し横になるか
You wanna lie down? But she shook her head and kept asking questions.
タイムマシンは
Where is the time machine
どこにある
now?
の
Which one?
鈴葉さんが乗ってきたという
The one that Suzuha used.
それはどこに
Where is it?
どこなの
Where?
I wasn't sure if I should say without Suzua's permission.
秋葉原だ
Akihabara. Maho looked so desperate that I found myself answering her question.
ラジカンの屋上に今も
Still there, on the top of the radio building.
そう
I see.
Her shoulders slumped and her head drooped. I was worried that she might ask to see it for herself, but maybe she really was sick.
本当に平気か
You really okay? I put my hand on her shoulder and looked at her face.
今日はもう休ん
You
だ
should
方が
rest for today. There was no warning at all. Maho's tiny body slammed into me. The force was enough to push me back to the wall.
何を
What are you? Before I knew what was happening, my arm was against my throat. Her arm was against my throat, even. She was using the bone in her arm to put pressure on my windpipe. I couldn't breathe or speak. I twisted my body and tried to resist, still clueless as to what was going on. Then she used her other hand to grab my head and slam it back into the wall. Her strength was incredible. I was a lot bigger than she was, but I still couldn't escape her grasp.
残念だわ岡部さん
I'm sorry, Okabe.
Her voice was very dark and very cold. And suddenly she moaned again, her face twisted in pain. I feel like she's been brainwashed back in America.
頭が割れそうよ
My head feels like it's about to explode.
She was crying again.
なんで
Why?
なんで私に
Why
話してくれたの
did
よ
you tell me?
あなたは
You
黙っている
shouldn't have said anything.
I couldn't escape. I grabbed onto her long hair and tried to pull her away, but she didn't move at all. It was as if she felt no pain. My phone had been vibrating in my pocket for a while now. I desperately grabbed for it. I pressed the button without even looking at the screen. Please answer, Kurisu!
Okabe?
I was blacking out. Was I going to die here? Without even knowing why Maho was trying to kill me? The whole time she was strangling me, Maho looked like she was in so much pain. And... wait, was she still crying? Before I could figure out if her tears were real or not, or just an act, I passed out.